So this is the secret behind men that stop obsessing over their ex. Hello, fellow explorer. My name is Dave, and I specialize in helping highly analytical, really smart men move through hard breakups that they are going through. And I do this in a very specific way using a lot of somatics and tantra to help facilitate this moving on through what can be a very, very traumatic time. And in this video, I am going to be talking about 3 mindset shifts that men who successfully move on through their ex use to do this. So the first one is all about changing the goal. So the first thing I hear from a lot of men who are struggling to stop thinking about their ex so much is that they just want to stop thinking about them. And so the first tip that I want to give you that I see in men that do actually stop thinking about their ex is that they are shifting the goal. So instead of making the goal to stop thinking about them, it's all about changing it to how can I think about my ex and not get so activated? Because this is what's happening. This is the main frustration. Something happens, right? You're at work, you're maybe walking down the street, you see a familiar building, you hear a familiar song, and all of a sudden you start thinking about your ex. You're wondering what they're doing, and your mind starts looping and looping and looping. And once you get stuck in this loop, this is what you feel you need to get rid of. How do I stop thinking about them so much? And so the whole goal is, instead of stopping thinking about them, we change it to how do I think about them and feel calm, peaceful, at ease. So if this is something you're interested in doing, this is actually something that I work very deeply with men about. So if this is something you want to dive deeper into, check the link in the description below, and you can find more information on how we can work on this deeper together. The second thing that I see men do who are successful at coming back to a grounded space when they think about their ex, they aren't so triggered, and they can see their ex in a beautiful light, and they actually see the breakup as a gift, is that they are very, very good at giving themselves space. And the analogy I like to use for this is boxing, right? What does a really, really good boxer do when they get hit in the face, right? They cover up. They put a barrier between them and their opponent. And so this is what I see really successful men who are successful at moving on through their ex, they do, right? They figure out ways to give themselves space. Because what does a really bad fighter do? They lay back and they either start getting pummeled, or before they're ready, they start wildly swinging. And both of these things are recipes for disaster. So again, the second step is, how do we figure out ways for you to put space between you and the thing that is giving you the trigger? That might be your ex, that might be a certain song, that might be your ex's friends or their family members or your family members or your friends. So the second step is, how do we start to figure out what these metaphorical punches are, and how do we start giving ourselves space? And the best way to do this is by going no contact. Right? How do you start eliminating contact from these triggers, whether it be your ex or the other things that I mentioned, like their friends or their family, or your friends and your family? And if you can do this, right, you can give yourself space, that allows you to start to separate the energetic entanglements that you have with your ex. Because basically what's happening, you will hear a song, you will see a building, and all of a sudden, you just got punched in the face and you're rocked, right? And so you don't want to be doing this. You don't want to be wildly swinging. You want to be covering up and creating some distance. So that's the second step. And the third and final thing that I see men doing who are successful at stopping thinking about their ex is that they are able to regulate, they are able to resource, and they are able to bring their nervous system back down to a calm and grounded space. So inevitably, as you are going through this breakup, right, you will hear songs. You might run into your ex. You might run into their friends, right? You might have common friends between you two. And as you are doing this separation, there's going to be all kinds of stimuli coming at you from all different places. And so if you have the tools and the resources to be able to calm yourself back down, to bring yourself back to a grounded peace, this is the third bit that I see men do that are successful at stopping this obsessive looping when it comes to their ex, right? So in conclusion, right, the first thing, how do we change the goal? So instead of making it not about how do I stop thinking about them, because this is the big mistake that a lot of people make. I have to stop thinking about them. But that's not actually the reality we want. You want to be able to move through the world and have stimuli come in, see people from your past, see your ex even, and be able to live your life, still be able to be happy, joyful, focused. So we change the goal. How do we go from not worrying about thinking about them, but move it into being in a space where when I do think about them, I'm okay, right? It doesn't aggravate me anymore. I can look at them and see the situation for what it was and be happy and be at peace. The second thing is, as you are disentangling these energies from your ex, you are able to give yourself space. You are able to create boundaries so that you can have space, just like a fighter. Because when a fighter gets hit, what is he doing when he's taking space? He's creating space between him and his opponent so that he can calm down and he doesn't make poor decisions because he's hurt or he's rocked. You want to be able to do the same thing as you are trying to stop thinking about your ex. You want to be able to put space between the things that are aggravating your nervous system, causing you to have this, what are they doing? And creating this looping pattern in your mind, this obsessiveness. And finally, the third thing is, once you are able to create that space, are you able to use your own tools and resources to be able to calm yourself down and be able to bring your nervous system back to relaxation? Just like the fighter, after he gives himself space, he's calming himself down so that he can make proper decisions on how to take his opponent on next, right? Does he still need to block? Where is his opponent? Or is he available to swing and go on the offense? You want to be able to do the same thing to bring yourself back down to regulated, back down to grounded calmness, so that you can also make the best decision for the situation that you're in. You're not acting out of impulse, you're not acting out of a trigger, but from a grounded, calm space. So these are the three secrets that I see successful men who are able to move on from their breakup, who are able to stop obsessing about their ex, who are able to stop checking their ex's stories every 10 seconds. These are the three secrets that they all have in common. So again, this is the type of work that I love to do with smart, analytical men. So if you find yourself in a similar space where you can't stop thinking about them and this is ruining your focus, this is ruining your productivity, you're not able to be social anymore because you constantly find yourself in conversation and your mind wandering, thinking about what your ex is doing. These are the type of people that I love working with. So if you find yourself in this space and you want to go deeper with me, in the description below, you'll find a link to give you all the information on how we can work together deeper on this. Wishing you all the best.